Hi guys, welcome to my second tutorial on C#. In the first tutorial we looked at a basic class and the Hello World program. In this video I want to show you a bit more about member functions and data types. So let's start off by, we'll start a new project, but we'll keep it in the same solution. So if we right click on this solution here, add new project, and we'll stick with the console application again, and we'll call it data. So I attempted to create this earlier, but my laptop started running out of battery, so I'll just start it again. So if we open up this solution, we have, again, it's created us a template. All we need to do is delete those two lines there. There we go. Now, as I explained in the previous video, member functions are contained within a class. And if you know, I'm sure you have, you notice these curly brackets. They're called code blocks, and every open bracket has a connected closed bracket. So this one is connected with this one is connected with this one. And this one is connected with this one. So what we're going to do is start off by creating, if you right click on the project data, however, add new item, class, and let's create a class called friend. Create. Friend data. Okay. Now you'll notice that in here we have the member function already. This function is, there will only be one function like this in a class, and it will always have the name of the class. What this is it's a constructor. It means anything that happens here happens when this class is initiated. What we're going to do is we're going to add some data that describes a friend. So we'll start off with a string. A string stores a load of characters so that you can have words. So Notepad deals with one great big string that you can edit. Okay, so we can start with a string, and we're going to call it name. Okay, that's all we need to do there. Then we're going to create an int. Now an integer is any number 1, 2, 3, -1, 0, any whole number. So we're going to use this to store our friend's age. Then we're going to have date time, store birthday. Okay, and we're also going to have another string, but this is going to be multiple strings. So we put these square brackets to show that it's going to be an array of strings. And this will be our friend's favourite things. Okay. Now, when deciding names on data, it's common to start the name of that with a small letter rather than a capital letter. See how here I had a capital B. That was a mistake. It doesn't make any difference. It just makes it easier to tell the difference. If you notice, this member function starts with a capital. Okay, so it's just to help the eye to catch things easier when you're scanning through code. You can see what's data, what's a variable piece of data, and what is a function. Now, this will work. This program is perfectly fine, but we have no way of accessing that data. We cannot access this data from another class at the moment because we haven't made it public. So what I'm going to do is write public string name. So if I click on program, I'll show you what that does. Within our program we need to create data. So we could use a string, or we could use an int, but no, we're going to use a friend data. Okay. Friend data is contained in a namespace called data. If we look at this, see it's within that namespace. You'll understand more about namespaces as we go. So we're going to create a friend data and we need to give it a name. Okay. Now we can initiate it like this, but there's no data stored in there. We can't use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say Matt is a new friend data. Okay, so now we've got a brand new friend data. Now we can use that data by using the name Matt. Now inside Matt, because it's a friend data, see we've made name public. So we can equal a string. There we go, there's our string there, Matt, and then we're at the end of the line. Now we can't put his age. We can't reference that. We haven't allowed it. It's hidden. So what I'm going to do is make these things public. Change that math dot height equals say 29. Math dot birthday equals. Now here's where we see them constructors again. New date time. Now we have different constructors. If we use 3 integers as our arguments, that means that it will interpret that as a year, a month, and a day. If we just put in a long, which is another type of data, it's like an int, but it's bigger. You can get higher numbers, I should say. And a date time kind, which is another kind of data, then it will initiate it that way. So we're going to say, I don't know, 20th of 7. Oh, okay, so the year 2000. Month, say 7th month, my day, 21st. Okay. Now we've stored that. Now, what we can do now is we can use that information The difference between write and write line is write will write what you're telling it to write, but then it won't go on to a new line once it's done. So if you write again, it'll start at the end of the sentence or whatever that it's written. Write line will basically hit enter when it's done. So we're going to write line, and we're going to go for math start. Let's go with his age. Okay. Now that will show, if we run it by clicking this green arrow. Oops. Sorry. What I forgot to do here was to put an open close bracket. That's the default constructor, the initiation. Will make the code go to here before it does anything else. Try again. There we go. So 29, because that's what we put his age down as. Now, what we can do here also is to write your friend is, okay, and then we can add his age, and then we can add a string, okay, and there we go. Oh, we need a space before years. Instead of putting your friend, we can put I've got name. Matt is 29 years old. So you get the gist of that. The interesting one is Matt dot his favourite things. Okay, it's an array of strings. Remember we use these curly brackets. So we're going to initiate it like this. His new string with the square brackets. And we're going to tell it how many favourite things he's got. So let's have 2 favourite things. Then we can fill in what's in those 2 spaces that we've allocated. Now, it's referenced from 0, so if you've got 2 things in there, you two spaces that you got will be referenced by 0 and 1. If you've got three things, it will be 0, 1 and 2. So the first thing at 0 is football. Have the second thing at position 1 is pi. So then we're going to put here she loves plus mat.fav the first thing plus and mat.fav the second thing at position 1. And then we're going to have a full stop. We need a plus there. Okay. Now it doesn't matter if you put spaces here, or here. It doesn't make any difference to what's printed on the screen. What makes a difference is these spaces within the string. Matt is 29 years old, he loves football and pie. Now, we can do these two lines, well actually these three lines in one line by doing this. Get rid of that. We don't need to tell it how many strings there. If we put open and close bracket and then make sure that we put this semicolon so that we know that this is a complete line of code, and within this code block here we're going to type his favourite things. Football, and separate them with a comma. When the strings go in speech marks, if he's changed his mind, he's going to like football and cake. So now if we run this program, Matt is 29 years old and he loves football and cake. And just for completeness, let's quickly write Matt, console.writeLine. Okay, that will just give you a spare line, but we'll want to put things on that line. I shouldn't have given Matt a capital letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on rename Matt, and see it's changed all occurrences of Matt plus mat dot birthday dot date. See the different things inside the date time classes. Member functions here, and these are, we'll get into what these are later. They are actually properties, which is another way of, well, I'll go into that later, but it's a good way to protect data to make sure that it's correct before assigning it to your data storage. So that date. Okay. There we go. I mean, it gives us the time now. We didn't input a time. We can say day, month, year. Separate them with slashes if we want. Another thing that I wanted to show you before we go is a little bit more about numbers. Let's create a member function. Let's say I want it published. Public void. That means that this function doesn't send back any information back to the calling part of the code. Go into that a little bit more in a minute. Let's say write name. Okay. Then we can write console dot write line, and then we can tell it to write name, and that's exactly what that function will do. So if we go back to the program, we'll say math dot write name, and then run that. See, it says there math. Let's try a function that returns some information. So public say string first strings. Okay. And what we can do a string stored in that location in this string here. So console.writeLine, and then we're going to put math.favoriteThing number 1. So now we're using that function to generate information that we can use in other ways. So if I run that, sorry, 5 things. Now I have made a mistake there, not a major one, but I would like this F to be a character, just so I can easily tell when looking at code in other places that it's a function. So this looks like a data. So remember the first favourite thing on the list? Cake. So the second thing on the list, which is referenced at 1. First thing on the list is referenced at 0. Okay. Now, if we like, we can make this private, which means you wouldn't be able to access this from the program. This code won't work. This is inaccessible due to its protection level. It's private, not public, not for any other class to delve into. Another, I'll go into what static means another time. We'll go into that at some point in the future. The last thing that I want to show you is constructors. Why use them? Okay. We use them to make sure that data is initiated properly and initiated in the way that we want it to be. So this default constructor, we're gonna make name equal no name. We're going to make age equal 0. Favorite things is going to be null. Birthday. It's already got it. Things like birthday will be already initiated, but it's good practice to make sure that things are initiated, especially if you're not sure if they're going to be. You can test them and try and use them. If they're not initiated properly, you'll get an error, a null pointer error, which means that there's no information there. So in a lot of circumstances the class itself doesn't auto construct, but I think date and time does. So, but what we'll do is we'll say birthday equals, and we can actually go date time dot now. This is an initiation. So if we go to our program and write friend data math equals new friend data, well, like we have on below, and we could have wrote this part here equals, so that will make sure that most things there are initiated the way that we want them. So then if we say map.name, we would get no name. Let's create another string name, age, date, time, birthday, string, favourite things. Then we can say that this, okay, dot name equals name. Okay. Within this constructor, which is a member function, we have two things with the same, this here called name, and this here we've called name, and they can both be accessed from here. So by default, when we type in just name, it will reference this one because it's the most obvious to the compiler. If we want to access this, we need to say this dot name, i.e. this class's name. Okay, equals name. This dot age equals age. This dot birthday equals birthday. This dot favorite things. Brilliant. That's what I'll put it back in here. Now if we go to the program here, we can write mark, friend data mark equals new friend data. Okay. Mark, comma, 21, comma, new date time, where is it, year, month, day. April 14th of April today. And new string say he likes pink and glitter. Okay, so all this information now has been initiated, and we wouldn't need separate lines to input each piece of data. That's all I'm going to do for this tutorial. Sorry it's been long, we've covered a lot of information. You might want to watch this video through again if there's some things that you didn't understand. However, you know, as we do more of this, you'll start picking things up a lot better. You'll see for yourself what I mean by things. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, or if it's been helpful to you, please like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments, ask any questions, write them below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.